Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you on this with us on this Tuesday night in America. We're doing a live show once again tonight. The reception has been awesome from you guys, so we continue to do this as much as we possibly can. Tomorrow will be live from Washington, D.C. with our good friend, the great Mark Mitchell. He and I will be making the trek down tomorrow morning, sitting down with a few members of Congress, James Comer, House Oversight Committee Chairman, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, and Nancy Mace, among some other meetings we'll be having while we're down there. We'll be looking for Jasmine Crockett and AOC in the hallways of Congress, seeing if we can maybe stir up a little bit of commotion or drama while we're down there, because, we're not exactly quiet people, right? So the blow up, the explosion that the mainstream media, the Marxist Dems, have been waiting for since January, since July and August, when Elon Musk endorsed President Trump. Well, they finally got what they've been waiting for, but I have a little bit of an interesting take on it, and I'm going to get to it in just a few moments. And as always, we're happy to take your questions here. Any questions you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat wherever you guys are joining us from Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you guys are joining. We appreciate you joining us. Please be sure to follow us on our new YouTube channel at The Great America Show on YouTube. We're really trying to prop that channel up and get it rolling so we can eventually have the show over there and try to maybe move off of Rumble and solely have it on YouTube. So if you're not following us already on YouTube, please be sure to go over there and follow us at The Great America Show. We're also now on Instagram at The Great America Show on Instagram. So the blow up, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the GOP, massive blow up this afternoon. Elon Musk, he's been pretty adamant about where he stands on that big, beautiful bill. He said from the beginning he wasn't for it. He was against it. And, let's think about what Elon Musk went to D.C. for. Elon went to D.C. to cut the federal deficit. He saw wasteful spending, bloat all throughout the federal government, wasted money. The whole Doge committee, all they did was find money that was not well spent. Sesame Street in Afghanistan. You guys have all heard the list of what this money was wasted on. Circumcisions in Uzbekistan and so on and so forth. So Elon went in and saw it for what it was. Wasteful money was being spent, our taxpayer dollars. Now, I don't think Donald Trump knew just how bad it was until Elon took this mission on. The problem is Donald Trump may have not known about it, and I'm about 99% sure he didn't, but the people who did know about it are those members of Congress, because they're the ones who do the appropriations bills. They're the ones who pack the bloat into them, who pack the pork into them, and then shove it on the president's desk. And, there'll be the key things that the president wanted in the bill, but then there'll also be this bloat that the president doesn't see because he's not reading through thousands and thousands of pages budget bills. It's what he relies on people like Mike Johnson for, which, by the way, we reached out to Mike Johnson to see if he'd be interested in sitting down for a 5, 10, 15-minute interview while we're down there. We never heard back from him. We know he got the message on good regard. So I think it tells you all you need to know about who Mike Johnson is. Kevin McCarthy, for what it was worth, was, he was a terrible speaker, but he was actually a man. He was a man who, would address confrontation and not run from it. Mike Johnson, it seems, does all he can to run from whatever the confrontation is, whatever the problem may be. It's not just me saying this, is people who work very close with him in Washington, D.C. So Elon Musk earlier today, as Caroline Leavitt is doing her press briefing in the White House, decides to put out a tweet taking aim at not necessarily President Trump, but Republicans in the House, Republicans in the Senate. And he says this, quote, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is not it. It's disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." So I could see it from Elon's side as well as the Republican side. Mike Johnson doesn't really know what he's doing. He's running around over there like a chicken with no head. He's never held a leadership role before being Speaker of the House. Been in any position of power. So he doesn't really know what's going on there, and he's getting steamrolled. From everyone I speak to, they say he's a nice guy. but he's a man who does not know what's going on, and he's consistently getting steamrolled by rhinos. Now, I'm not entirely sure he's a rhino or he's compromised. I think he's just not the smartest, man, and I'm saying that in the most respectful way possible. Just totally mistaken and doesn't know what's going on. So Elon goes there and he wants to cut this and he wants to cut that. He finds where the bloat is. He tells them where the bloat is. And the Republicans just sit there on their hands and say, well, yeah, what are we supposed to do about it? As they continue to pass these pork-filled bills. Now, the bill is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And nothing's going to be perfect in D.C. when you've got to get X amount of people to vote for it, when you've got such a slim majority, and the Republicans we know are just dumb people. They're not united in any sense of the imagination as the Democrats are. I mean, you remember the impeachment of Donald Trump. They were able to get every single one of those Marxist Dems to go ahead and vote, whether they believed in it or not. The Republicans can't get a group of people to vote on something as simple as this. And it's because they get away with it. They let them get away with it. Mike Johnson let them get away with it. You remember when they ousted George Santos? There was people in Congress doing far worse than what George Santos did. That's fine. You want to oust George Santos, Mike Lawler. Go hold the Democrats just as accountable. It's simple. You want to go after guys like that? That's fine. But level the playing field. These guys do not have there's really no respectful way to say it. Intestinal fortitude. Mike Johnson got steamrolled, lost a seat on George Santos, gave it up to a Democrat. But let all the other Democrats who have done, whatever they wanted in Congress, Nancy Pelosi, insider trading, Jabal Bowman pulling a fire alarm to delay a vote. Those people can get away with murder. And it's not just under Democrat leadership. We can't even blame the Democrats for this. We can't sit here and blame Hakeem Jeffries just as much as I would like to. Because it's the Republicans. They are absolutely lost and they can't get out of their own way. It's like their shoes are untied and they keep stepping on their shoes and just tumbling and falling and falling. They cannot unite on anything. They let Jamal Bowman, as I said, go on that. Could have voted to oust him. No, we'd rather get George Santos. Nancy Pelosi's husband's making tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars on really, really good calculated stock trades. Now we'll let her go. Dan Crenshaw, a man who's never worked in a stock firm in his life, hedge fund, private equity, nothing. All of a sudden now is a hell of a stock trader. My congresswoman here in Staten Island, New York, Nicole Malliotakis, Santos likes to call her Nicole Melia Stock Tips, never had a real job in her life. Now all of a sudden she's this brilliant trader. But we let them get away with it. So you can't blame the Democrats for just beating the Republicans over the head. But with this bill, like I said, nothing's ever going to be perfect. But with this bill, you like to see who's for it and who's against it. And anytime you hear Chuck Schumer against something that the Republicans are for, it might be a good idea. Let's take a listen to good old crying Chuck lie about it on the Senate floor today.
Look at the facts. The Republican plan will increase average national electricity prices by about 10%. The Republican plan will increase total household energy costs by $32 billion. That means American families will pay $32 billion more, all to please the ideological blindness of the fossil fuel industry. And that's not to mention that the Republican plan would cost America about 800,000 jobs by 2030, all across America in red states and blue states. What a terrible price to pay just to lower taxes for the ultra-rich, just to line the pockets of the fossil fuel industry, to satisfy the ideological hatred that fossil fuel industry has for clean energy, and to lose out on American energy dominance.
The way I look at it is if Chuck is against it, I am all for it. Crying Chuck, the guy is just a total liar. All the guy does is lie. So if he's against it, I'm for it. And I think that's the way it looks. So I understand Elon's frustration and all. I think all of us do. But at the end of the day, we've got to take what we can get. We've got such a small margin, such a small majority. And as I just laid out over the last few minutes, we've got so many rhinos that just refuse to fall in line that we really can't afford to be playing games. And that's just the I think just the bare truth of it all. It's truly a shame. And I don't know if a larger majority helps the Republicans or it hurts the Republicans. They really need to start. Republican leadership really needs to start holding these people's feet to the fire, metaphorically and literally. There's no repercussions for these people embarrassing the party and doing whatever the heck they want. None. They get committee head jobs, do whatever they want. Nothing. No issues whatsoever. It can't continue to go on like this. Folks, we're going to take a quick break here. When we return, so much more on the other side of this break. Tom Homan doing absolute amazing work. The LGBTQ plus XYZ Pride Month is here. The airline industry, as if it's not already in enough trouble, plagued by this. We're going to tell you all about it. We're coming right back. Stay with us, folks.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that we're making it through. My employees and I want to thank you for your continued support by extending our wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows only $14.98. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.98. But it gets even better. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows $29.98 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including my standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.98, Kings only $1 more. Not only that, order $75 or more, ship absolutely free. From all of us here at MyPillow, thanks America!
Mike Lindell, I told you all folks yesterday, he called me before his trial, and he wanted to thank everyone who's been donating and everyone who's been buying the products with our promo code. Massive numbers. Mike really appreciates you as he's in the fight of his life right now with everything going on, with these rogue Marxist judges going against him, doing whatever the heck they want. So before we went to break there, I'd mentioned the industry that you really just don't want to mess around with it. It's the air travel industry. It's one that I know very well. I spent most of my adult life and career in it. Taking a part in Pride Month, and it's not just any airlines. It's, you've probably guessed it, Canada. People just to the north of us hosting their first LGBTQXYZ plus event.
It was a bit of a range of emotions this morning coming here and getting dressed for this flight.
C'est un moment historique qu'on vit aujourd'hui. J'ai trouvé ça une bonne initiative pour la communauté entière. Je suis comme un petit thrill de faire le vol aujourd'hui.
J'ai là supporté ma fille, une de mes 4 enfants est dans la communauté. Quand j'ai vu qu'il y avait une occasion de supporter encore plus, là, j'ai mis mon nom tout de suite.
We are doing the first ever, now let me get that one straight because a few letters have been added to this one, 2S LGBTQIA plus flight ever in Canada. I do identify with the progress flag. There's something in there that represents me as well. So it was a bit of joy having the opportunity to do this flight today.
Aujourd'hui, ce que ça signifie, c'est vraiment un moment très spécial. C'est vraiment un terme de visibilité, de vraiment exprimer à tout le monde. On se sent vraiment accueilli, vraiment accepté pour qui on est.
Pour célébrer l'inclusion à la diversité, nous sommes heureux d'annoncer que le vol d'aujourd'hui
features our very first all 2S LGBTQIA+ crew.
The safety and the well-being of all the passengers on board rests in our hands. So it doesn't matter who they are, what they represent. I'm equally responsible for all of them.
D'ailleurs, on aimerait vous souligner ce moment marquant de l'histoire canadienne.
And want to celebrate not just our community, but our freedom to be who we are, both at work and in society. Valuing people equally, both in the air and on the ground, and celebrating our identities, no matter what they are. with customers and our employees is important to us. Shante, you all stay.
You heard the man. I'm just at a loss of words. I could tell you, folks, I'll never fly. Not that I ever go to Canada. I think I've been to Canada maybe one time. But there's one industry you don't want to mess with, and it's the airline industry. I mean, it's where safety really matters. It's where the click of a wrong button, the press of a wrong button could kill just about everybody on board and maybe a few people on the ground. Yet these idiots, there's no other way to put it. They're idiots. There's no being nice to it. Put together their first, I don't remember what it was, 2 LGBTQ flight. I guess presumably of all gays and transgenders. But it's like America, the world, is working in reverse. We're seeing it this time around for Pride Month here in June. We're regressing. I mean, everywhere you go, there's a flag, a pride flag somewhere, an MLB logo. I think the Texas Rangers are the only team in the MLB to not partake in the stupidity. Years ago, we moved away from the division of people. You remember when blacks and whites had to be segregated, or when they were segregated, and we got away from that because we're all the same? But now it seems like we're working in reverse, and the Democrats have something to do with it. Over the last few months, fueling race riots, this whole LGBTQ thing, the division is just growing larger and larger. And I say it all the time on this show, is the summer is right around the corner. And you all remember the summer of love, 2020, the George Floyd riots. It seems the Democrats, the mainstream media, they're doing all they can to divide people as much as possible with Pride Month. What difference does it make if you're gay, straight, or not? It makes no difference. When you go to apply for a job, it shouldn't matter if you like men or you like women or you like your own sex, because it's totally irrelevant. Nobody walks around and gloats that they're straight and they're married to a woman or they're married to a man, because it's stupid. Yet we found a way to divide people by who they spend their time with in a bedroom. And it's, to me, it's totally mindless. With all that we have to worry about in this country, with all the issues that we have in this country, that's what we're wasting our time on, is being inclusive, to not hurt someone's feelings. I have plenty of friends who are gay, and the way they explain it to me is, we don't care. We're just regular people. And that's how it should be. Nobody should know who you are, who you sleep with, and what you do on your private time. Let's get back to some more politics after that little rant. Tom Homan is doing just a terrific job, among one of the best in the administration right now. On Hannity last night, talking about the work that ICE is doing under his sort of leadership as czar.
And I've said over and over again, what scares me about the southern border, the sex trafficking, right? Sky high. The Americans dying from fentanyl. The people, all the drugs coming across, all the sex trafficking, all the smuggling. And I said what concerned me the most was they created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. Not only did 2 million known gotaways, 2 million people cross the border, we don't know who they are, where they came from, we don't know where they are now. On top of that, even through the legal process, the Biden administration were bringing people unvetted, handing out work visas like they're candy, while they sat here and planned something bad. We are going to be dealing with this for the next 10 years because of the chaos they created in 4 years. We're out there kicking butt. We're arresting a lot of criminal aliens. We're out there looking for the bad guy. And when we're out there doing that, Sean, we got protesters assaulting ICE officers. We got members of Congress all over the country going to ICE facilities, raising hell, saying this is your oversight responsibility. Where were the oversight responsibility when 10.5 million illegal aliens came across the border? Where's the oversight responsibility on releasing over 8 million illegal aliens to this country? Where's the oversight responsibility then? This is an attack on ICE. This is an attack on the Trump administration. We're trying to fix the damage done by Biden.
Tom Homan, I mean, doing just a terrific, terrific job among one of the best out there. It really, I think, exploring and exploiting the vulnerabilities of what the Biden administration has allowed to happen in this country. We don't really know the numbers of how many illegals are here. Some say it's 10 million. The only problem with that number is it's sat at 10 to 11 million for the last 25 years, which we know is not exactly possible, knowing how many illegals he let into this country. So we don't really know. The number that's floated around is probably somewhere in the range of 20-something million. So if you do the math, you're going to have to deport a lot more than they're doing right now in a day. But, they're doing the Lord's work in what, they're given, in what situation they're given. But these guys, these ICE agents face an uphill battle. You've got people on the streets with bullets, metaphorical bullets pointed to the back of their head, targets on these guys' backs because of these Marxist Dems like AOC, who go out there and berate these people for simply doing their job. The truth of the matter is you're in this country illegally, you're here illegally, you got to go. It doesn't matter what you came here to do or why you're here. If you came here as a criminal to commit crimes, you're being expedited out, which is what Homan and the boys have been doing. If you came here to work and send money back home, you still have to go, but you're probably a little bit further down on the list. There should be no, mistaking that. I was in a cigar lounge the other night in Newark, New Jersey, and a very heavily Democratic area. And I heard I was talking with two very high up officials in the police department there. And they're talking and they were on board with now Newark has a very big problem with illegal immigration. And these are two police officers who you think are probably on the side of truth, justice, and the American way. And they're sitting there saying they have a problem with the way that Donald Trump labels illegal immigrants. That there should be some sort of distinguisher that the ones who come here to work illegally are good people, and the ones who come here and do crime are bad people. But there's one problem. They both broke the law when they came to this country. So that's the way that things have to go. It sucks to suck, but we are a nation of law, order, and rules. And the second you let that go is the second you lose your country. And if you want to look at a good model of it, go look at what is happening in Europe. Europe is in total turmoil right now with everything going on in the country, with how many migrants they've allowed in that country to overrun the place. They are in total turmoil as we speak, tearing down France. So that's almost what we faced here in America under Joe Biden. The border was wide open. Drugs were allowed to pour in. Now, I can't give Tom Homan enough credit for what he's doing, but I think we need to be a little bit more strict at the southern border. I think we got to start moving into some of these drug facilities that are in Mexico. Donald Trump had floated the idea, or allegedly floated the idea in the first term, about blowing them up. I mean, they're criminal organizations. They're terrorist organizations. They transport drugs into America. They kill American people. They are terrorists. So I think as an American, we should all be on board with whatever means necessary to destroy these terrorists who are harming our country, who are harming our children, and harming our society. And that's that. We're going to take one more quick break here, folks. As I said, we're live, so we're taking your questions on the other side of this break. There's so much more to get to. Any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, and we're going to try to get to them before the end of the show. Stay with us, we're coming right back.
Just like all of you, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. I'd flip-flop all night, use my arm for support, and fall asleep, or I'd wake up with a sore neck or maybe a headache. Well, quality sleep comes from keeping your neck straight at night. You have to fill in that space between your head and your bed. That's why I invented MyPillow. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it doesn't matter if you sleep on your back, stomach, side, or any combination of all three.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get Classic King My Pillows for only $19.98. Queen size just $18.98. Standard Classic My Pillows only $14.98. That's right, only $14.98. Plus all orders $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. We're going to get to some of your questions here in the chat. Like I said, we're live tonight, so any questions you have, please feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll get to them as we can. Let's see what we've got here. We've got Rachel Collins on the Facebook chat. Blessings from Florida. We love Florida. We're down there probably once a month. We try to get down there as much as we can. The free and fair state of Florida. I think we're set to be back down there next month. Doing some fun interviews. Over on Facebook, George Young, all of the problems in politics prove one thing: everyone has a price. George, you couldn't be more correct. The corruption in politics, every night before I go to bed, I spend a few hours reading. And when I wake up in the morning, I spend a few more hours reading about everything that's going on. And one of the issues that's been on my mind is this Israel conflict in Gaza. And what's fueling it and why it's taking so long to get it over with. And, Netanyahu has said from the beginning he was going to level Gaza by all means, but it's taken him now a very long time to do so. And it makes you wonder, is someone being paid? Is someone making money on this? The whole situation doesn't make sense on why this thing has been carried out for so long and why Netanyahu decided he wanted to ramp up his efforts to blow up Gaza and everything in the place while Donald Trump was over in the Middle East trying to negotiate. So last night I decided to look into see how much money AIPAC, which is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, puts inside of our elections here in America. And got to be honest, I was very stunned to find out the amount of money that is spent by AIPAC in our elections. So for the 2023-2024 election cycle, over $55 million in direct contributions to federal candidates, at least $45 million going to campaigns of members of the 119th Congress. But AIPAC is coupled with the United Democracy Project, which is another PAC. Together, they spent $127 million last year on our elections. So you say to yourself, why would they be so invested in American elections? We go after George Soros all the time about his influence in our elections. So why would other nations be influencing our elections? So then I went in a little bit further to see who the money was going to. George Latimer, who was in New York, $1.3 million, with an additional $7 million going into his campaign. Jackie Rosen, Democrat in Nevada, received $1.2 million from AIPAC. Robert Menendez, that's Gold Bar Bob, who's no longer there. He's on his way to jail soon. $1.1 million. Hakeem Jeffries, $770,000, but up to $1.3 million with the other PAC involved. Richie Torres, Democrat from New York, another Democrat, almost $600,000. Josh Gottheimer, Democrat from New Jersey, who's running for governor of New Jersey, almost $600,000 with a little bit extra money, comes up to $700,000. Wesley Bell, Democrat of Missouri, another $550,000 from AIPAC, with UDP spending $3.1 million on his campaign. Pete Aguilar, Democrat from California, $500,000. And it's just another list, a long list of Democrats, which is sort of interesting because the Democrats have been pro-Hamas and not Israel from the beginning. So to George Young's point, there's a price to be put on everyone, and you just got to follow the money. And you don't have to sit here and take my word for it. If you go to opensecrets.org, I think it's opensecrets.org, not .com, you can look up every single dollar that's been received by politicians, by your politicians, by politicians all across America. You can see where they're getting their money from, whether it's coming from PACs, super PACs, certain industries. We did a little expose on Tom Tillis on the show with how much money he's getting from the healthcare industry. So you just got to follow the money, as George Young pointed out. Susan Stevens over on Facebook, thank you for having Mike Lindell on here. We try to get him on as much as we possibly can. Mike's a great American who's in the fight of his life right now with the Marxist Dems and everything they're doing to this country. It's truly sad. Kelly Song. Hey, Kelly. Thanks for joining us tonight. Did you say tonight that you will be live from Washington, D.C. or tomorrow night with Mark? Tomorrow we will be in D.C. We're making the trek down in the morning. If we can get Mark Mitchell out of bed by 6 o'clock, we'll be on the road. I'm thinking of making Mark Mitchell maybe listen to 50 Cent or something, maybe some heavy rap music on the way down to D.C. to have some fun. But it's going to be an interesting day for us. We've got a lot of meetings set up. We're gonna have James Comer here on the show tomorrow. They tell me they have some big news to break, so we'll have that for you tomorrow. Jim Jordan will also be joining us. Nancy Mace will also be joining us among some other folks, and we're going to be, scouting the hallways of Congress to see if we can find anyone who wants to answer some tough questions for the Great America Show for all you folks out here. Before we go tonight, we've got some funny story for you out of New Jersey. Alina Habba, who is the acting U.S. attorney for the state of New Jersey, is getting sued by the mayor of New Jersey for arresting him, bringing him in and charging him for his role in that little ICE facility. You remember last week, the federal agents out in New Jersey went out to arrest some illegal immigrants. So the Democrats decided to show up and do what they do best. They wanted to cause a little bit of a riot, cause a little commotion, and that's exactly what they did. So Alina Habba, because she's a fan of truth, justice, and the American way, had her police officers arrest these people for inciting what they were doing. They were trying to cause an insurrection. I thought the Democrats are against insurrections, but I guess it turns out they're not exactly. They're liars. So now he's suing Alina Habba because he says that his First Amendment rights were infringed upon. Sort of interesting. The Democrats have a double standard. And anytime you speak out against that double standard, they don't like it. But that's what America is. We have a freedom of speech. And it's what makes this country such a great place. That's why so many of us stay here and don't leave, even when we have to deal with a Democrat president like Joe Biden for the last 4 years. But we've got Donald Trump now. So that's all for us, folks, tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you joining us here tonight and every night here on the Great America Show. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, live from Washington, D.C. That's all for us tonight, folks. I hope you all have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. But until then, may God bless you, may God bless America, and may God bless the great Lou Dobbs. Have a great night, everybody.